Hello everyone, welcome to another Exchange 2019 video. My name is Ed, and in this video we're going to look at hacking Exchange 2019. And the first thing that I want to discuss with you is that this video is for educational purposes only. It is not a production environment. This is my lab. I have authority to hack this environment. If you want to attempt something like this, please make sure that you get written consent, permission from the people that you want to attack. Remember, we are ethical hackers. We have to do things that are above the board. And I just want to demonstrate how bad actors actually hack an Exchange server that is not patched. So in this video, we're going to be dealing with the following vulnerabilities, which is CVE-2021-26855, 26857 and 27065. Now, Metasploit, that is part of Kali Linux. You can see I've got Kali Linux in the background here that I'll be working on, is going to be used to perform the attack. First, obviously, to check if it's vulnerable, and then secondly, to do the attack. So the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to launch Metasploit. We're not going to learn it. If you're not familiar with Metasploit, there are quite a few videos out there on how to use it, and I'll be demonstrating how to use it in this video as well. So when you start Metasploit, you can either start it from a terminal MSF console. In my case, I've already started my database. It's already configured, so it doesn't have to be initialized. And I'm going to just clear the screen. So the first thing we're going to do is we want to look for any modules that are related to the ProxyLogon exploit. So how do I do that? So I'm going to search for ProxyLogon, and there are a few that are listed here. We're going to be working with number 1 and number 2, starting with number 2 first, just to make sure that the server is vulnerable that we want to attack, and then we will go through and we will do the exploit. Now, sometimes exploits don't work with the payloads, so you have to change your payload. So in this instance, we will be doing that. We'll be using a bind TCP payload and not an interpreter shell. It just, for some reason, doesn't work, but the bind shell does work. So the first thing we have to do is we're going to say use 2, and we have to configure the options in this module. Now, the options that we have to configure is the R hosts only. Now, my lab has a public IP that continuously changes. So at the recording of this video, it will be this IP, and in our next video, it will probably be another IP. So what I do is I can say set R hosts, and I'm going to put in the IP address of this vulnerable Exchange server. This Exchange server is running Exchange 2019 RTM. It is not patched at all. It is vulnerable to many attacks, as you'll see in upcoming videos as well. So once I type in the command set space rhost space the IP address, I can now type in run and press enter. And what we can see is the vulnerability that I spoke about, 26855, which was the first one. It comes up and it says that this target, or the target, is vulnerable to the CVE. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use number 2. So, sorry, number 1. So if we go and we say use 1, you can see that it configures the payload to Meterpreter, which we don't want. So the first thing we're going to do is change the payload. So if I set the payload to Windows shell bind TCP, apologies, there's a spelling error there. And now we need to configure the options for this payload as well. What I'm going to do is I need to configure email. I need to configure the R hosts. So let's first just push the up arrow, press enter, and then the email. Now the email can be any email really. So if you, for example, have an account, in this case, I have user1 at tlab.com, but the user also has an alias of user1 at tlab.local. It works for both, and I'll demonstrate this. So I'm going to say set email to user1 at tlab.local. And then I'm going to click the run button. You can click run, or you can click you can type in run, or you can type in exploit, press enter. What it does is it actually goes through a list of checks. It goes to the URL on port 443. It tells you that the server is vulnerable. It actually picks up the legacy DN, shows you the GUID of the user. The OAB picks up your canary information, which is another exploit, which we'll be targeting in a later video. And as you can see now is we have a remote shell on our Exchange server. So if I type in who am I, you can see I have full permission over this Exchange server, meaning I can do anything. I want to demonstrate this. I will bring my Exchange server over to show you what you're seeing on your shell versus what you're seeing on the server. So if I navigate to the users directory, and you'll see that there's obviously the default public user, there's my local account and a TLab account. So if I go to my TLab account, and then I go to my desktop, I have a folder called Tools, and if I go to Tools, you'll see that I can see everything on this. If I bring over my Exchange server here, I'm logged into the user, and there's TLab Desktop Tools, and there you see that I have uh, full control over this Exchange system, meaning I can potentially do anything I want now. If I was a bad actor, I could drop ransomware, I could drop malware, can put in a backdoor to regain entry to the system continuously. So even if I go and patch the system now and I have a backdoor, I can still get in. I'm not reliant on the fact that the system now is still unpatched and accessible on the internet. So I wanted to just demonstrate how easy it is for an attacker to hack a machine with ProxyLogon, and the modules are in Kali Linux. They are there to use, to check. But please, as mentioned, this is for educational purposes only. This is to make you aware that patching is very, very important. The more you patch and keep stuff up to date, you close all the security loopholes, meaning that this will not work against a server that is patched. It'll come and just say to you that the server is not vulnerable. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.